There we go.
All right, we broadcasted. Black to hip hop. That's what it's named. Appropriately. The day after Thanksgiving. Y'all know what they call this day, but we're gonna talk something good, something more entertaining there and spending your money. We're gonna talk a little bit about hip hop. We got Joe
on this good Black Friday. Not black, but blight.
Black. We got Joseph Ward, the resident guru on hip hop here. Welcome.
Hey man, welcome. I don't know if I'm a guru, but I'm gonna tell you what I know.
Don't let the glitches turn y'all away.
I know, right? Listen, promotion. I'm doing this time to time, so you better get used to it.
Yeah.
I wrote a book. I'm so proud. My mom proud of me. She give me quarters now. Mm-hmm. Now she hugged me. Now I'm just playing. She always loved me. I think yours look muted. Oh, there we go. All
right, we good.
There we go.
All right.
So what's on the?
So yeah, let's get started with the question that everybody asks when they're doing anything that involves hip hop, especially for us old heads. And but that's when did you fall in love with hip hop?
Man, look, it wasn't even in this millennium. You know what I'm saying? Well, for me, I can say about around the time when I really got into hip hop and I really fell in love with it was when I first heard Nothing But because I was already yeah. Go ahead. I was saying, I already knew about hip hop. My god brother, we used to ride around with him around town, and he used to always be listening to all Ice Cube. So, like America's Most Wanted, I was a fan of that. The Predator, Death Certificate, I was a fan of all those with Cube. I've listened to NWA. Our mentor Keith Turner, he had us listening to. We was in a drill team. And see, that's why it's cool. Like the step drill team that Public Enemy had, he took that concept and kind of recreated it with us little black kids in the hood. So we was on that drill team. We was listening to Public Enemy. So of course, he had Chuck D influence. We had NWA. We had Death Row influence. And listen to Salt and Pepper and stuff on my own growing up. But I would say 92, like when I really got into Chronic, that's when I was like, okay, yeah, this is what it is. And then the first two albums I brought cassette tapes, because in the 90s we had the cassette tape. So I brought the Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style, and I brought Bone Thugs and Harmony, each 1999. I have no idea why I brought Bone Thugs and Harmony, but I brought it, and I was like, okay, this is like the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. They like singing and rapping. Well, okay. So I would say 92, between 92 and 94, but definitely more like around 92 when that started. I was like, okay, man, yeah, hip hop music is where it is. So, Yeah. When did you fall in love with hip hop?
So to say just a little earlier than that, it would have been, I grew up in the Midwest, so Grandmaster Flash, The Message, that my cousin popped the record, and what we did was, there was no cell phones and pagers and all that kind of. It was just good old fashioned. You call somebody and it's like, hey, I'm this Friday, I'm going to get this record, and we're gonna listen to it at such and such house down in the basement. and my cousin went and got the record. It was probably early 80s, I know, like 82, 83. And together and went down in her basement where, you know, she had the basement to herself, all decked out, you know what I'm saying, the mood lighting, the record player going, and, you know, we popped that in, and I think we listened to it, you know what I'm saying, back to back. So it was kind of like, you know, don't push me because I'm close to the edge, you know. And, you know, we just kind of was like back to back and just doing nothing but sitting there vibing this, you know, poetry over music, basically. That's how fresh it was for us, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, so then I was hooked at that point. Because, you know, that's just what we did. We got together. So it was an experience for me, you know, just to be able to kind of come out of that era where your parents was listening to, you know, hardcore R&B and disco.
Yeah.
You know, you know, they was still roller skating, you know, going around the rink, hitting their skates up to the side of the walls. And, you know, you know, so now here we had this, you know, talking type music, you know what I'm saying, poetry. It was definitely something different. It was definitely, you were supposed to listen to it in your basement because it was basement music. And, you know, it was just a live type feeling like I'm at the cusp of something very new. And I definitely fell in love with it at that time, the whole experience, getting together with my family and friends and listening to was out that, you know, of course, the parents wasn't listening to. It was just a new, fresh thing. So that's when I fell in love with it. And to be honest with you, because I'm in that older age range to when first came out, you know, here we are present day 2016, and I'm not as impressed with hip hop, but I haven't really been disappointed as much as I felt like I had outgrew hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny is that when I see moguls like Russell Simmons, who obviously made a career out of you know, fashion, music, you know, everything surrounding the influence of hip hop. And he's, you know, a gentleman that's older than me. I see, you know, how does he still, you know, get motivated every day, especially with the state of hip hop as it stands today. So I do know, even though I can identify a time period, and definitely identify a time period in which I kind of fell out of love with hip hop too. So on that, Sarah, are you still into hip hop as much as you were when you first started listening to it?
Yes and no. One main factor is time. When I, you know, high school or college, you come home, you already finished your homework, or you cheated on your homework, you already got that out of the way. So you come home, and if I get home at 3:30 and I'm not going to bed till 12, I got all that time to do nothing. I'm listening to music, you know. I'm burning CDs. I'm watching, because when I was in high school, living in beginning of college, because we're talking about high school was 98 to 2002, and so you know, you come home, you watch 106 in Park, you look forward to seeing AJ and Free. That's the 106 in Park that I know, you know, watching AJ and Free. So you look forward to seeing that, and then you watch all the little rest of the video shows and whatever else is coming on. So in that aspect, I don't have the time to sit down and listen to the music like I did growing up, but I am still in love with hip hop music. And the reason why is, to me, hip hop isn't dead. The focus, well, The mainstream hip hop is garbage, but you got to look at the underground, because the underground music is where it's at. Because I give you a couple names. Oshun, young ladies, I think they out of New York. Oshun, like they be busting, like
nice, yeah.
Another young lady, Sarak, like Sarak, nice, right? Big Pun's son. If you go listen to Big Pun's son, he be riding. You know, because like the underground scene is where I found Big Crit. Like Big Crit is like, he's in my group of MCs that I rock with this dude, and I'm talking about, you know, because Nas is my favorite MC. Nas, Rakim, you know, Scarface, stuff like that. Those like my favorite. So for me personally, I'm putting Big Crit in my group, and in my van, I'm driving the van. If I had to, let's talk about that too. If you had to put like 7 rappers in the van and just drive around and do concerts, who would it be? You know, or if y'all had to go battle somebody, I'd pull my van up to your van. You know, but I still love it. Like because I'm from the South. I'm from Florida, and our music culture down here and our hip hop culture is totally different. Because even growing up, before I knew who Nas was, before I knew who Scarface was, before I knew who Uncle Luke was, but not even really understanding what Luke did. Because Luke had the raunchy music and all the stuff like that, but Luke was an entrepreneur. He was a pioneer and owning his own thing. So not even really understanding that, but you know, the Jam Pony mixtapes and 69 Boys and 95 South and Ghost Town DJs and things like that. So I grew up listening to music that wouldn't be considered good music up north. And being from the South, you know, we're used to being considered not hip hop music, because I even go back and listen to some of the old UGK, and Pimp C was one of the main ones leading the charts. So, these are country rap tunes down here that we listening to. So my view on some of it is a lot different, but that's not saying I like these new rappers. I do not like, especially the ones who don't speak English. Like, you supposed to be talking English, but you're not. I can't do that. You know, I'm rocking with Kendrick Lamar. I'm rocking with, like I said, Big Crit. I'm rocking with J. Cole. You know?
Yeah, that's definitely where I get off the, ship at. You know what I'm saying? But probably long before then. And you're right. And just talk about Uncle Luke in itself. I was still living. I'm living in the South now. I'm living in Florida. When I first got down to Florida. Of course, Uncle Luke had made his run, but you had Trick Daddy, the artists that were coming out of the ATL, and it was definitely a different vibe. But there's one thing I can tell you is that before I moved to Florida, Luke, such a mainstream audience, because we were listening to Luke there in Ohio in the Midwest, and it was party music and it was different. And so he was the first rapper that got up to us like that, and then everything else started coming through. And then it's even different when you get down to Florida and you see the number of artists that was there. It's like this was a whole scene that nobody had even tapped into. So I will say this, that when I moved to Florida, I started thinking, I like this feel. I started to get disinterested in it, just hip hop in general, until I start hearing some of the Southern artists.
Right. And what I had to learn how to do is find the rappers or find the artists that meet in my lane and the things that I like to listen to. Because if we allow the radio to tell us who is and who isn't, then we're gonna fall out of love with a part of our with the subsection of our culture, which is hip hop. We're gonna fall out of love with that if we'll keep allowing others to tell us who we supposed to listen to or who's hot and who's not. Because last I checked, the streets always told us who was the next up and coming. Because like Eminem was one of the greatest of all time, and even like I'm in Tallahassee, Florida, so we got Florida State University and we got FAMU. No disrespect to Florida State, but Florida State in the music, just because I hear hip hop song playing at Florida State, don't mean it ain't getting no credibility from Florida State. Because at Florida State, they still you can put on a song from 1994 and they gonna act like it's brand new. They be way behind. They be behind on that stuff. But walking through FAMU, like I hear like perfect example when T.I. 2001, between 2001 2004, the streets is what made T.I. hot. It wasn't the industry. The industry didn't tell the people that T.I. was hot. The streets told the industry that T.I. was hot. Because like I had his first album, I'm Serious. I had that album like 3 years before I even knew what dude looked like.
Yeah.
And so by the time, right. By the time the trap music album came out, I hadn't already had four. I had the I'm Serious album and the In the Streets volumes 1, 2, and 3. So I hadn't already had that even before I even knew what this dude looked like. Because the underground scene was like that. And if you like, we talked about Houston, like Houston don't let no industry tell them who's who. They control it down there. And so hip hop isn't dead. Mainstream hip hop garbage. But mainstream hip hop has always been garbage. It just now there's no balance in it. Because let's
talk about some numbers. So let's talk about some numbers because you a lot of the reporting today will talk about hip hop, the industry. It's a $10 billion industry, so it deserves attention, especially from corporate America. And corporate America largely ignored hip hop when it first came out, right? They didn't think it was marketable. They weren't trying to let go of disco. They just wasn't trying to let it in at all. And it just busts through the music industry with we won't be unheard, but if you were living in it, you somehow believe that it was never going to get out of the basement. But if you were an artist, you were looking like everybody loves this, is somewhere this is going to be mainstream. And when that happens, in comes corporate America, because we know it's a $10 billion industry. And not only is it a $10 billion industry, but 80% of the consumers that consume hip hop and hip hop fashion, hip hop branding are white.
Yeah, and what's and it's hard for people to wrap our minds around that because we don't realize that we are used as, in my opinion, we're used as the testing ground, the stepping stone to see how good an artist really is. Because if these black people gonna like them, these white people gonna like them. Because like you said before, like Lil Wayne now, when white people wasn't giving Lil Wayne a chance, we were. Mm-hmm. Because we was rocking with Lil Wayne before he was cussing.
Right.
So see, people don't remember that now. Before Lil Wayne was cussing in his songs, we was rocking with him, right?
Yes.
It's the majority, like I'm always, whenever we talk about hip hop, I'm always mention this documentary because I think my man Byron Hurts, and I want to interview him. We got to interview him one day, Mr. Byron Hurts. But the name of the documentary is Hip Hop Beyond the Beats and Rhymes, and it gives you so much about the culture, about how the corporate white people came in and took it and brought it out, and just how when you control the corporate interests, you can control the visual aspects of the culture.
Yes.
You know, because when we talk about hip hop dying, we're talking about corporate takeover, because they now own the radios, and like
yes.
only like little middle school and high school people like listening to the radio now, because hip hop is still new to them. Or is still new to them, so they're like, yeah, we like this, and you know they're gaining their little freedoms, and they can listen to what they want to, so we can listen to music that people cussing and talking about eating booty, because you know they talking about eating booty these days, stuff like that. So, but it's like because you know we went through that a little bit when we were growing up, because now looking back on it, and I go back and listen to some of the songs we listened to growing up, like, yeah, my mama was right. This song was stupid, and this song was stupid, but some of it, but not all of it though. But because some of you go back and listen to, but like my parents just don't understand. Like I tell people all the time, like, you know, like an artist like Pimp C. Like Pimp C is misunderstood by a lot of people. They think because he's talking about all that nasty talking, pimping and stuff there. But if you listen to everything he say, thing the brother said, the brother got something. The brother had some substance with what he was doing. I'm not saying he was Rakim, and I'm not saying he Chuck D. But I am saying he ain't none of these other fools either. So
now, and here I was listening to Too Short, and his music was like pornography on cassette.
Well, see,
you know, as a matter of fact, I had cassettes of Too Short that I didn't even label my mom to know that I was listening to Too Short.
That's how it was.
So,
yeah. That's how we all was, sneaking and listening to that music, taking the labels off and taking the mark and going all over it or whatever. Or you dub it on the blank tape or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, so you know, we got to bring this back to some consciousness, and we know that hip hop has, for mainstream, is what you call it, is garbage. We know that hip hop, that other communities outside of the Black community are largely influenced by the images, products that are produced from hip hop, and they see it as a reflection of the Black community. So, you know, tell me what you think is the biggest issue with that we're facing in the Black community when we are being represented by a mainstream industry that we don't even buy into.
Okay, that's an excellent question. I'm glad you asked that, because I want people to realize this and remember this. Write this down to remember. All right, we learn through pictures and sound. Like they've already studied this hundreds of years. We learn through pictures and sound, and imagery is very, very, very powerful, and especially when you like think about it. You can make somebody cry. You can give people a stupid story, but if you dress it up right with the right music and the right clips, you can make people cry. You know how to work people's emotions and stuff like that, right? So once again, going back to Hip Hop Beyond the Beats and Rhymes, it was a scene in there where they were talking to white people about the image and what they learned about Black people. Because, you know, and it's not all white people. These are the white people I'm talking about now are either the white people who are doing a great job of acting like they clueless, or really just don't know nothing about Black people, right? Or the former, they just acting because we got the internet. But okay. But they asked the young people, you know, do you learn about Black people through hip hop music? Like, yeah, well, I think, you know, I listen to hip hop music. This tells me exactly how Black people live, and I'm like, what? So, but where's the, you know, there's no logic in that, because that's all right. Because I could reach. I could say, well, I watch Quentin Tarantino movies, and all white people go around chopping other people's heads off with samurai swords, and they jump white ladies, and when the white lady get into the hospital, they prostitute them out while they unconscious. You know, we could reach all white people wear hockey masks and walk around in chainsaws. Now we could really reach, but you know, helping ourselves either though, because it's a two-way street, right? We got to give them the bull to be able to project. So we're not helping ourselves when we sign up. I mean, you know, Foxy Brown she could rap, but when your album called Ill Nah, I mean, that ain't helping. That's not helping with the image.
Yeah.
With the imagery. I mean, you know, when we continue to sign up to sell ourselves out, of course the people around the world gonna think we all thugs and criminals and stuff like that. I mean, like, and black people have to look at it like this too. All right, let me rephrase this. It's a good number of black people who, I'm gonna give you two coaches, who think that Africa is a country and all Asians are from China. All because of what you're seeing on TV. And let me not say just black people, because it's all types of people think that Africa is one big country and all Asians are from China. And India is just some separate little island floating around by itself. It ain't a part of Asia, right? So we talking about, because this is the stuff that people been given to watch. And like when we had good images in hip hop, the whole consciousness of the people were different. When we had better music, the whole consciousness of it was different versus what it is now. You know, black people were more willing to work together, to unite, to take a stand as a whole, rather than this not culture that we have now. That our hip hop music, some artists have been used to reinforce that stuff.
Right. Yeah, I agree. You know, which is why, you know, I'm largely not as influenced by, you know, hip hop anymore. And logical that we would be judged as an entire community by art, you know, and you know, even to the point where in our professional lives are judged by something someone sees in you know, what I call fantasy or made up believe land, where, an artist is, you know, rapping about their internal viewpoint of something that they have experienced. So not only is an artist's singular experience and their viewpoint representative of an entire, also their culture. It just doesn't make sense that we are folks would be so influenced by that it flows over to how you deal with people professionally, how you deal with people when you're going to purchase things in a consumer atmosphere. It just doesn't make sense at all. And I wonder if there isn't a bigger picture in terms of hip hop being a social engineering tool for the audience that they want it to be. If we know, according to hip hop industry statistics, that 80% of the consumers that purchase hip hop products, music, fashion, everything that phones that are white, then are white people being socially engineered to think negatively of Black people?
I think so. I mean, you don't because you can't be for racism and against racism all at the same time, you know. So I think because look at it like this. Like we got there's a good number of white people who drive down the street listening to our music all day, every day, saying every word and whatever, who still went and voted for Trump, who still, who still get the idea of the white code, who still live by and die by the white code, right? So it's not broken just because they listen to hip hop music, because they understand it's just, and to them it's truly just entertainment to them. So you do have some hip hop is one. I'm not gonna say hip hop is the main vehicle that's used to help project these negative images and to reinforce. See, I told you they were less than, but because hip hop is such a powerful force, it's the one. People in Japan ain't listening to no Toby Keith, but they listening to Snoop Dogg. Like, but think about how significant that is, though, right? Like you got the biggest country stars in the world who don't get no play in Asia, but the mumble mouth little dude from down the street, or the poet from the ghetto, is an icon in Japan. But these huge country stars. So hip hop is very, 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 very powerful vehicle, and it can be used. It's like any powerful energy or vehicle can be used for good or bad. Because, like I said earlier, I mean, think about the way before Lil' Kim came out calling herself the queen bitch, and Queen came out calling herself a queen bitch. Call a black girl a bitch if you want to. Yeah,
it was definitely was a negative connotation.
You're gonna get jumped. Like I'm from that area. Like I'm still the dude. Like I still cannot call a black woman a bitch to her face. Like I don't call them that at all. I really don't. I try not to, even when I'm mad. Like, nah, you gonna look at here, woman. I try to do something like that, but because that's the era I'm from. It's like, that's disrespect. You don't call no girl no bitch, especially no black woman. You don't call her that. But Lil' Kim came out saying I'm the baddest bitch. I'm the queen bitch. And then Trina's the baddest bitch, and now everybody competing to be the baddest bitch now. It's that mindset that it's okay, because white women been calling themselves bitches.
Yeah.
But we didn't do that in the black community. So we're talking about the mixing, and to me, it's an illusion of mixing of culture. It's a diluting of our culture, or extracting of even the positive elements of our culture, just leaving the other parts there. Our culture's been processed, basically.
No, that's a great point, because while Lil' Kim was saying, I'm the queen bee, Trina, I'm the baddest bee out here. Did anybody ever see they were putting into developing a brand, and with the work they were putting into their music, and say, this is a persona that she is portraying, but the work ethic behind that persona is, something worth noting. Like, she put effort into a career and produced something that millions of people wanted to go out and purchase and buy, and lazy people don't get that. The average bee don't have that type of pull, and always have to be a negative connotation when we talk about this. We just choose, or especially white folks will choose to extract all the positive from something and say, here, what's left over is these chitlins, and here you can have these.
There you go. And we try to take the chitlins and turn it into a delicacy, right? Because but when you have a culture that's already vulnerable because it's been beat down for hundreds of years, right? Because hip hop was created as a way to express them, for people in the South Bronx to express themselves, as a way for them to live. It exemplified the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they dress, the way they thought, the way they write, the way they read. That's what, because people don't realize that, because a lot of people only see hip hop as music. No, the music is only a small portion of that. And even in the music, it's different elements, because it's not just music. Hip hop is not just music. Hip hop is the DJ, it's the MC, it's the break dancer, and it's the scribe, the spray paint, And so we're still talking about, all right, the DJ is the one that controls the crowd, the music person. So that's the musician. The DJ is the musician. The MC is the griot. Right. And you have your dancers, and then you have your writers. Those are important aspects of society. Those are elements of hip hop, but important aspects of society broken down as elements of hip hop. All right. So this comes out of a culture of people in the South Bronx who were already downtrodden, who already walked on and stepped on and poor, poverty, and all these things here. So it grew out of that. It grew out of the pain, because to me, hip hop is the final step in the alchemical process of all this music, because hip hop is every other genre of music infused into one. That's what hip hop is.
Oh, right? Yeah.
And
I don't know that we should always let them throw everything in the kitchen sink in there.
Right. No, I agree.
A lot of about what we allow into this industry, if we want to control it. But according to one of the articles I read before doing this broadcast, the hip hop industry has created a few Black billionaires, more than a few. Mm-hmm. To that point, it has also padded the pockets of big corporate America. So they become rich. There is a difference. I want people to kind of understand that difference, is that their wealth was already based on an opportunity, and are largely benefiting financially from something that was the cornerstone of our community, the Black community initially. And so now when we allow them to step into our industry and contribute, they influence that culture a little bit. And that's something that I would like to see slowed down tremendously, or have us create a narrative that puts hip hop in its place, right. Meaning that it cannot influence how we conduct ourselves, right. Live our lives.
It's not the true voice of the people right now, as far as on the mainstream aspect,
right?
And that's what it was. It was created to be the voice of the people. Our rallying cry.
So let's clarify that a little bit too, Joe.
Okay.
Because let's clarify, that with some context. And here's where I have a little bit of experience at, because what I understood is, at the time that hip hop came out, it was purely a basement, type inner city, language, communication, an atmosphere. And that wasn't representative of that wasn't supposed to be representative of the entire Black community.
Right.
We know that my parents weren't listening to hip hop to
Right.
Rap. So in that case, hip hop wasn't ever meant to be a representative of the entire Black community. It was really supposed to be representative of younger young folk, and them bringing the paradigm shift in what Black young folks were listening to, separate from disco and R&B. So right now, you know, you can't tell me hip hop, well, that's not, that wouldn't necessarily be a true statement, but because I'm still heavily influenced by hip hop. I'm in my life, I'm still heavily influenced by it, but I don't think my parents are still or have ever been heavily influenced by hip hop, other than now our hip hop is in our television programming.
Well, you got all
right. There's television programs that are largely influenced by that, but it was never meant to be representative of the entire Black community in the first place. This was people speaking out and pushing a new genre of music to the forefront.
Right, exactly. Like I say, that little subsection of people up in the South Bronx expressing themselves, the voice of the people, right? The voice of the people in the streets of the South Bronx. Because like I was talking to my uncle not too long ago, last month, matter of fact, and he's 66 or something. I asked him, about him listening to hip hop. He's like, nah, man, I wasn't really into it. I'm born in '84. Hip hop late '70s. So I'm reminding myself often that hip hop really not that much older than me. Hip hop like my older brother, if you want to go like age or something like that, right? So it's not the voice of everybody, because think about the spread of it, right? The spread of how it spread, because it started off, it was real East Coast heavy, and then you start to have your West Coast influences, your Midwest influences. Then it came to the South, and then it went around the world. It happened like that.
Right.
It happened like that. But like you say, because it was rebel music. It was rallying crying music. It was music that the people got together and expressed themselves and let loose a bit, but it was still their rallying cry, where they had their messages, where they can kind of similar to, if you think about it, kind of similar to the little shindigs that the slaves used to have when they got a chance to get away with themselves, and when they beating the drum before the drums and stuff got outlawed, when they were able to dance and communicate and come together, and it was their rallying cry music. So kind of similar to that, kind of some of the roots, the roots of the African culture that's within hip hop.
Right. And I have no doubt, what I'm saying, because when we sit back and a lot of the music that we use in ancient times to communicate with our ancestors, the drums, the rhythms, hip hop will have that type of influence, especially some of the hip hop that doesn't go mainstream, and so for the most part, I just want there to be kind of an understanding within the Black community. I'm not so much interested in how other communities perceive us anymore, because it's just not relevant to our day-to-day life, how we walk, talk, and what we do on an everyday basis. But how we perceive each other, has to be according to a Black codes of social engineering, a code of conduct. We can't place ourselves in the social engineering that that mainstream hip hop provides to white America, and then conduct ourselves in that way. Because we see a lot of people adopt those social engineering behaviors from white America, and then use them on their own community. And I don't want people to kind of look at hip hop and extract those negative images and negative messages, and then bring them back to the community. So it's worth noting that knowing our history, the know yourself rule, and the good faith, how we're communicating with each other, it can't be influenced by an art form like hip hop. We're not communicating, just like the drums were used to communicate with the ancestors. That's on a higher frequency. Music, hip hop, that kind of thing. It's just another form of expanding your mind, but not necessarily how we communicate with each other on a day-to-day basis.
Right. Like you were talking about, with us not having the control over the culture and the music and the business aspects and the labels and all that, with us not having control over that anymore. What you're talking about, being able to other outside coaches being able to extract the negatives from us, either project them or use them against us. I feel like that's already happening. I feel like that's already what's in place, because you come across some white people who will sit there and tell you that you're not black because you don't resemble some of these negative characteristics. And then you got to ask them, well, damn, I got to be the most negative to be black. But that's what they think being black is. Oh, you've never been to prison? Oh, you ain't black. You don't have 2 baby mamas? Oh, you ain't black. You don't have no gold teeth? You ain't black. Like, damn, well, are you a cannibal? Do you bathe in blood? Do you rape kids? I mean, because we talk. But see, the thing about that is white culture, those negative, because all you got to do is read white culture. You read history, you read world European history for yourself. You can see the negative aspects. But since they control the pictures and the vehicles that produce the pictures and sound, they control that. They control their narrative. So yeah, you can have Latin and Pala be a big part of your culture, but still call us animals, right? Like you can have a dude not too long ago here in Florida, like get on the drugs and eat people's face, and white people still not be considered cannibals. But you can have black people continue to be victimized, but also still be seen as a terrorist or as a big scary monster, because people control the pictures, the vehicles that control the pictures and sound, they control that. So they're already taking out the negative aspects of our culture. They're already extracting those things and projecting it to us. And I think about a big part of, and I think it became a part of hip hop was the movies, right? And so movies like our hood, specifically our hood movies, that genre of movies. So we're talking about your Colors, your Boys in the Hood, your South Central, and things like that. Now, I always tell people that I think like South Central, Boys in the Hood, and like Baby Boy are like they're in their own category, because they actually work to portray a positive message, even though it went through the trials and tribulations of the environment that they in. But OG Bobby Johnson is the greatest hood movie character of all times. It don't get no better than OG Bobby Johnson. But
right.
But we haven't seen any more OG Bobby Johnsons ever.
True.
But Ray, we see Ray all the time, but we don't see no more OG Bobby Johnsons, right? Like, this man was willing to die to be a father. He was willing to put himself in harm's way so he can show his son that I'm here for you. I'm a man that will put it all on the line so you can have
put family before everything. Yeah, that's right.
Right. But since we're not making these movies no more, or if we do make these movies, we're not supporting them. But the main vehicles, like the birth of what happened with Birth of a Nation was a great example of that. So many black people deciding that they're not going to. Black feminists decided that they're not going to go see the movie because of all the information came out about the rape trials. So they didn't go see the movie, and in the end, y'all still got sold out by white women who's supposed to be feminists.
But let me speak on that real quick. Let me speak on that because here's where where people have to understand where we're getting hit from so many different fronts in order to keep things, just realistic and realistic expectations that people should have, because Nate Parker in himself was on the Nat Turner story. That was a very ambitious project, and that he might have overstepped a little bit in terms of what he could actually even bring to this particular type project. And then he was writing it in his own viewpoint. So here I am. I'm not a black feminist by any stretch of the imagination. Nothing becomes before my blackness, and nothing else is equal to my blackness. So if Nate Parker did not have any of the controversy in his personal life surrounding him, would not see Nate Parker as somebody that was worthy of taking on this type of he could do it, and but as an artist, as a writer, as a screenplay writer, I understand why it was something that he wanted to reach for. But I take it back to going to come out, and August Wilson, who had done Fences, in the 1940s, and then all this time he wanted to take it to the big screen, but he would not do it because Hollywood would not give him a black director and producer. And he said, this movie won't be done unless it has that. And it wasn't until, Denzel Washington took this project over, and here is August Wilson. He passed away before Fences even made it to the big screen. But when he knew that it was going to be produced by a black director, he gave it his okay. But he stuck to his principle in saying that no one else can tell our story the way we can. And in that respect, I just don't believe Nate Parker, for other reasons, can tell the Nat Turner story. So so here I am as just a person in the industry who has an opinion regarding people who take projects that they just haven't built. We saw Donna try to play Nina Simone. It was a train wreck. It was a train wreck. And so she got a little bit ambitious in saying that, I'm critically acclaimed for whatever I've done before, and now I want to go out and play the most influential person in black culture for the 60s and 70s, or the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And here we are, where Nina Simone, clearly is, I am about reaching my black people and educating them about their blackness.
Right.
And Zoe Saldana is
pro-white.
Right. And then saying, I don't want to be considered a black actress. I don't want to be considered a black actor. I don't see color. You can't play Nina Simone then. And Nate Parker can't tell Nat Turner's story. So without that, I don't think that Nate Parker even deserved to, in my opinion, and this is just one opinion out here, but I don't even think that movie deserved to go any further than what it did. Yeah. And I did support the movie, by the way. I did want to go see it, and want it as an artist, but I just don't think it deserved any of that.
I went to go see Birth of a Nation because we should support our own stories. So I do think people should go and at least get a seed planted about the Nat Turner story, and then go read his confessions. Go read the Nat Turner confessions on your own and study Nat Turner on your own, so you can know about Nat Turner. It's about seed planting. It's not about Nate Parker being the foremost expert on Nat Turner. Now I think that's what a lot of people need to understand too. When we're going to see the movie and stuff, we're not placing him in this category like you the foremost expert on Nat Turner. We supporting the ideology and the legacy of Nat Turner. And people need to realize that. I wish, in my world, man, look, I would have made the Nat Turner movie in my world, but you would have seen it all. You would have seen Mr. Samuel head rolling then. So, but but also like you're talking about with Zoe Saldana, whatever her name is. Yeah, see that in itself, when we're talking about being able to extract the negatives, because one thing I found out about these biopics, these biopics don't like to do nothing but highlight the negative aspects of people's lives. And like the little clips that I've seen, they're trying to portray Nina Simone as an angry, drunk black woman who always raging against the system and stuff like that. And what it is Nina Simone was a stout opponent of racism, and she embraced her blackness. She understood that she had strong Afro features, and she embraced that. And Zoe don't even have a quarter of the consciousness to even do that. Like, because I mean, like for her, like when they stepped to her and told her they're gonna have to put her in blackface, she should have karate chopped everybody in the face. Just like, fool, we don't do that. We don't walk around in no blackface, fool. Why don't you get somebody who already have those features?
That's racism within itself.
Right. Go ahead and get somebody who already got the Afro features, who can act, and then don't be trying to portray her as no little drunk and stuff like that. But once again, like you talk about, Nate Parker sold a movie to Fox, and I'm not sure who was the main engine behind the Nina Simone movie, which company, but it was one of them, but not us. But it's
that's interesting.
We're not telling our own stories, and Nate was the main vehicle behind the Nat Turner story, but he didn't have the final say.
Okay.
Because he ain't had the money. Now, whoever got the money got the final say. So whoever putting that final stamp, those studios and stuff, they got that final say. Like Tyler Perry, you might not like Tyler Perry movies, but he got the final say in stuff he put out. And
that's important.
Right. So, but see, even in that, like that's like, these are glaring examples in the cinema industry of what happens when you're not controlling your own your own images, your own messages. So when we go back to hip hop, that's how we get the little yachts, whatever the boy name, Lil Yachty, the little Timmy Turner boy, whatever his name, Designer, and a lot of these other cats now. But I mean, look, this stuff ain't new. When Young Jeezy came out, I thought he was I didn't know what we was dealing with when Young Jeezy came out. Like, and I still don't like. I still don't like his music. Yeah. Still don't like that, none of that stuff there, because we have to. All right, look. Trap music, when it first came out, was telling a story. Like, a lot of people don't realize Outkast are the godfathers of trap music. And when Outkast was talking about trap music, they wasn't promoting drug selling. They were letting you know. And when you in the trap, like Big Boy said, when you go in the trap and get just that, trapped. When you Outkast are the architects of trap music. T.I. is the one who took trap music to the next level. But T.I. was also talking about the good and the bad of it. And then it went off on a whole nother thing. Now, I don't know what we got. Like, cats ain't even talking English no more. But it's one continuous hook, right? Basically. But what it is though too is you take the same thing with football, right? You take poor, desperate people from poor, destitute environments, and like they are already taking care of their whole family, and if they got kids, it adds on to it, and you offer them a little bit
of that extra responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, people are willing to take money to do crazy stuff. That's what people willing. People, you talk to all types of people. If somebody gave you $9 million to slap your mama, would you do it? Yeah, or stuff like that. They gave, if you had to have sex with a man for $9 million. So I mean, all types of stuff that people will do against their morals or whatever things that they stand against. Because they say there's a price for everything. If you're the person that say there's a price for everything, then it says that. But when you're dealing with oppression and poverty, there's literally a price for everything. You're dealing with people who are oppressed in all their lives. You're telling them somebody is putting it on them. Well, this is the only way to get out the hood. Because think about it, in our culture, it's either athletics or entertainment that we can get out. Even though we got brains. Like when you have kids in high school and their family and everybody telling them, hey, if football is the only way you can go to college. Like that's the only way you can. And I'm like, that's bull. What you mean football is the only way you can go to college? But same thing, well, rap is the only way I can make it. If you want to be a rapper, cool, be a rapper, but that's not the only way you can make it. I tried to be a rapper once. It's nothing wrong with if that's something that's truly one of your passions, but understand it's a music business. And I know when I was in, my main goal was to learn the business of music.
Making music, yeah. Well, no, I agree totally, and that's how we have to get it back. So we're going to wrap it up here with a couple final words. I'm going to go first, and then I'm going to let you go. Yeah, that's right. Y'all see that on the shoulder of giants. But I want to say, we are the architects and we are the engineers of hip hop. We can at any point make everything that is produced have to have our hip hop seal of approval, and we can take it back and capture it if we want to, and we hold the original license for hip hop, the Black community,
right.
And
right.
So we can take it back. We're the architects, we're the engineers. We can right now we are actually the only people that can take hip hop to the next level with any industry or with any business. There are developments that happen that can only be dreamed of or taken advantage of. We're actually the only people that can actually do that right now because we are the creators and we have the license to do that. So I encourage our young folk and anyone who may be in the industry now to consider, the engineering, how we put hip hop out and what we consider hip hop, and just taking the whole industry and side down. That's my words of wisdom for what about you, Joe?
Hey, look, I'm a staunch lover of hip hop, and I'm just leave this book right here, okay? Because y'all need to get it. But I grew up with hip hop. I'm a staunch lover of hip hop. My homie, when we was rapping, Chief Diesel had a line, and our label was like, "Hip hop is my lover, and I'm practicing monogamy." And we're saying, to me, that meant like this is us. This is our culture. This is our essence. This is what we produce. This is what we give to the world. And like you're saying, we need to reclaim our music, reclaim our culture, and understand that hip hop is a powerful vehicle that we can use to uplift ourselves, because that's why hip hop was created, so we can uplift ourselves. And y'all visit my website, ontheshoulders1.com. Get a copy of my book, because hip hop also inspired this book. And I just real quick, one of the reasons why I really started reading, like really, is listening to Nas and T.I. They made me really get more and more into reading. I was listening to Nas, and that's when I learned the first black billionaire was Reginald Lewis, and it wasn't Oprah Winfrey. Listening to hip hop music, so you listen to the right people, you learn some stuff.
Oh man, that's awesome right there.
Yep. I'm gonna put my fist up. I should take a knee on y'all.
All right, that y'all. Later.
Yeah.